Bud.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Yes. Welcome back to the show. This is the Two Dumb Yinzers, episode 384. What's going on this morning,
384.
fellas?
Oh, I'm fired up.
Derpy,
Derby
Derpy
is
gets on to go live and he goes, my nipples are so fucking hard from last night.
yeah.
Indeed.
And of course, everybody knows what happened last night. No, it wasn't a hot date for Derpy. It
Yeah.
was the Pittsburgh Steelers, everybody. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they had their second preseason game of the year against the Buffalo Bills, in which the Steelers played starters. Buffalo Bills played starters. Matter of fact, yesterday was a Steel City sweep. It wasn't just it just wasn't the Steelers, it was the Pirates as well. We get two wins. The Steelers, of course, win 27-15. Should have been somewhere more like 27-7, but we'll get more of that in just a moment. Buffalo Bills, we forced 4 turnovers. I don't remember how many turnovers we forced last week against Tampa, but the sign of just causing turnovers is already a huge upgrade from last year, and is why we made some of the moves that we made, especially the inside linebacker position. But 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, 1 forced fumble by Big Nick Herbig. Mike, what was
Yes.
your overall take of this game?
Oh my god. I liked it. We saw what we wanted to see. We wanted to see how our starters would do against their starters, and we held up pretty well. It's hard not to get excited. You want to say in the back of your mind, it's just preseason. It's just preseason. But what we saw from last year, even the end of last year to now, is night and day. The way the quarterbacks play, the way the receivers are playing, the way the line's playing, the way the defense is playing overall. So it's very encouraging from where we saw this team last year at the very end. Yeah, we had that nice little couple wins at the end of the year. We finished up 9-8, but the way we played in these 3 preseason games, I haven't seen the offense click like this in a while. And it's nice to see the the play execution. Everyone that you wanted to see make a jump is making that jump. Start even with like Matt Canada. He's being more aggressive in his play calling, trusting, his quarterbacks, trusting his line. The quarterback making a big improvement. What we wanted to see from year 1 to year 2, he's making that improvement. I'm glad he is. Everyone knows I'm not the biggest Kenny guy, but I'm loving the way I'm seeing him progress throughout, from year 1 to year 2. This is how much more confident and comfortable. That's the key. He is very comfortable in this offense now.
Yeah.
And this is a guy, he played a lot of football, 57 games at Pitt. He started 8-9 games last year. So this is what you want to see if there's someone who has like high Division 1 and pro starts. This is where he should be. And that's very, very encouraging going into the regular season. Now, if we can keep this momentum going when we play live rounds against live number ones, but this is a very encouraging step. What we're seeing from these 2 preseason games is very encouraging going into the season.
I think with the and don't get me wrong, yes, it's preseason, of course. We know this.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody acknowledges this. Nobody has to tell us.
Oh yeah,
preseason, and it's really a double-edged sword, because if we would have came out in preseason last week against a team like Tampa Bay and lost, these Steelers, look how bad they are. They can't do anything. They stink. They can't even beat Tampa Bay. But then you come in and face the starters for the Buffalo Bills, and you dominate. Well, now it's just a preseason game. So, do what you want with that. It's silly. I mean, what Mike said is 100% true, and is what you want to take out of this game moving forward. Our defense, they stopped the number 1 offense of the Buffalo Bills. It was a 3 and out the first drive. I don't recall what happened on the second drive, but and then our offense, of course, they drive right down the field on both drives, scored 2 touchdowns. It's very encouraging. Again, from what Mike was saying, going back to last year, we were kind of concerned about the amount of points that we are going to be able to put up moving forward. You're going to have to score points. And you know what? We're scoring points, and we're doing what we should be doing at this point against first teams. And it's against a really good first team. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this Buffalo Bills team is picked to win the Super Bowl by a lot of people. And if not win the Super Bowl, be very close to the end. So it was very encouraging. I think this should give people a little bit of a different insight compared to everything that you've heard leading up to this point. It's something that we as Steeler fans know because we watch this team every day. Every day since the season ended last year, we covered this team, every single little move they make. So we seen this happening. We seen this playing out. We knew it was going to get better. And I, to be honest, I don't care. I don't care what somebody who isn't a Steeler fan thinks, to be honest, because for one, this is what they say even when we're good. They give us shit because, these Steeler haters. So I'm totally fine with that. And again, the preseason is a double-edged sword, and you get an idea of the life that's in the team. I mean, there's teams that you're seeing in this preseason that they just look dead. And I'm going to be very surprised if that's not what carries over for these teams. It's very hard to say that, a team's supposed to be good, goes 0-3, and then you're going to see them hop into the regular season and be just fine. There's a lot of telltale signs in these kind of games of the attitude, the flow that the team's playing with and how the team's being ran. And of course, some of the big issues last year, of course, one of them being Matt Canada, hasn't seemed to be an issue at all. There hasn't been one play in these last two games. I thought to myself, this is going to be a disaster. Things are looking a lot better. People say, how can this team be any better? Look at your offensive line. Look at the guy you bring over from Philadelphia. Look at the impact that your rookies are making that we get out of the draft this past year. Look at the impact that the people that we brought over in free agency. It's crazy to think that people are still on that boat. But again, I don't care. I don't care what people that aren't Steeler fans think, as they shouldn't care what I think of with the Minnesota Vikings. The thing is, I'm going to call it the way I see it. And you know what? Most of the time we're right. We in Pittsburgh, we know our football. And if we say the Vikings are going to stink, chances are they're going to stink because, we kind of know what we're looking at. But again, I'm not giving these guys a Super Bowl trophy. And again, I'm not taking anything away from Buffalo or any of these other teams. I'm just saying you have to be really careful with the preseason. On one hand, if you would have lost to Tampa, you were, look at this team, look at the Steelers. They stink. They're not good. Blah, 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 blah. But then you beat Buffalo and it's like, just a preseason game. So do what you want with that. All I know is this: in 4 days, guys, we get to watch this team play again down in Atlanta against the Falcons in the third game of the preseason, which means after that, guys, it's just going to be 2 weeks and a handful of days until the opener against the San Francisco 49ers here in Pittsburgh. And then after that, we got another home game against Cleveland. So I like the way things are feeling, guys. I like the way things are feeling. And I heard last night, whether it's true or not, or whether it's going to remain to be true, is as Brock Purdy will be getting the start in week 1 against the Steelers.
I saw that too. Yeah, he actually played last night or yesterday, whatever they played. Yeah, he was out there getting some live action. And just as a fan of football, it's nice to see him back out there this fast. That injury, man.
I hope he does well. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he can do bad week 1. After that, he can play lights out.
Yeah, I hope the guy does well. I like him. I mean, a rookie that comes up and does that kind of stuff. I mean, we could relate. We've had a Ben Roethlisberger where we had a very similar kind of thing. So you know what? Good for him. I hope he does start. I hope he shows up. I hope we beat them.
Bad week 1. Bad week 1. After that, Brock, do what you do.
Yeah. So, guys, it's almost here. I'm excited. I think that we're going to be right in the mix of things this year. The Steelers, the thing about us, we're never down for a long period of time. We're never down, certainly in the past 30, 40 years. When this team is down, it's a very short period. We rebuild, we get back at it and do our thing. I look for the Steelers to be right in the mix of this. And I look for one of those 3 teams, the 3 top heavy teams, Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Buffalo. I watch for one of those teams not to be so dominant this year. I don't know which one. We're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But one of those teams I think are going to fall off a little bit and make a little bit more room up top. I'm not saying we're going to be up top, but I am saying that it is going to help clear space and things are going to be a little different than this year than they have been the past few years. It's hard to be that consistently good year after year after year after year. I'm just saying, I think one of these teams are going to fall off just a little bit, and it's going to be really interesting.
We've seen it here in Pittsburgh for how good we were. There were years where, stuff happens and you're not as good as you were the year before, but then you come back that next year. So it can happen. It does happen. And hopefully it will work out in our favor for a change.
The swag right now. Swag goes a long way in the NFL.
We've been talking about that all off season, man.
The swag.
Everyone from Omar Khan to Mike Tomlin, those two, they have I think the hiring of Omar Khan, is a breath of fresh air to the organization. Kind of like when Kevin Colbert first came in. When he first took over as GM, it was a breath of fresh air. It was something new. Omar Khan's changing up the way we did things, the way Colbert changed things up the way we did, when he came in. So, and then that's just having a trickle effect down. Tomlin, we've been saying all season, he seems more energized. And we saw it last night, Well, from the one camera angle, Mike looked like he lost a lot of weight, looked a lot better. But
the above view, he looked like he
you,
was
Mike
up
looked like
top
the
of
best
the
shape
world.
of his life. They took down and all right, let's go back to that angle. I know the feeling, Mike. I know the feeling. You get that right angle, you're good. But no, his this whole demeanor this offseason, we haven't seen him like this energized since year 2, year 3, when he was when he first took over. So, and the players, they are taking that same energy as well.
These guys are flying
It's
around.
the disrespect. It's because the disrespect we're getting in the league.
No, it's not that. It's not that. It's just the confidence they have in themselves.
They're just both of what you said. Both of what you said does play a part.
Well,
I
can see it too.
Once
We're
disrespected,
used to being talked about as one
right.
of the best, and when you get talked about as no, you guys have fallen off.
That's a light under your ass.
Yeah, it does, and it should, because
when people are talking
they needed to hear it.
The Yankees in last place. You don't think that's encouraging the Yankees?
That's pissing them off. Yeah, you don't expect them next year to be that bad
in this offseason and spend $1 billion and put a good team on the field. They're going to be better. It's the Yankees. It's the Steelers. It's just the nature of the game, guys. Let's talk some numbers and some statistics and some things that happened last night, because so many good things happened. I'm ready to talk about some of the happy things. First drive of the game, we start moving the ball, and then Jalen Warren busts through. This guy, geez, oh man, he goes one carry. He only had one carry yesterday, mind you, for 62 yards, which was the touchdown. It was an amazing play. This kid, he's going to be hard to stop, and a 1-2 punch with him and Nagy is going to be a pretty dangerous backfield in the NFL. It's the two different styles, and when you finally see Najee go out and you see Jalen Warren come in, there's no time to to breathe. You have a guy just as good running down your throat play after play. So I'm very excited.
That play, my God, go online. Brian Baldinger in the NFL, he breaks down that play from the overhead view, and you can just see Mason Cole turning the D tackle, James Daniels getting to the second level, Samalu just destroying his guy in the lane that opened up, and Deontay getting out there, engaging his corner, and it was perfectly designed in execution. The execution of that play was beautiful.
See, that's the key.
Absolutely. Derpy, what do you think, man? What did you think about the Jalen Warren run?
Well, it looks like my magic of giving him a high five brushed on him.
That's right. He must not have washed that hand yet. That's the only thing that's the only thing that I could think of. But yeah, Derpy, Mike, I'm very, very excited about this backfield. No two ways about it. Let's continue to move forward with these numbers, because again, we got a lot. We have a lot. They gave us a lot. Second drive of the game. So we go up 7-9 on this run. Again, talking about getting your opportunities. This guy gets one shot and he turns it into a 62-yard touchdown run. So we got to be happy about that. Then we hold them for a 3-and-out. We get the ball back. We then this moment happens that I couldn't wait for 2 years now. Ooh. They punted away on that 3-and-out. Calvin Austin the third. I don't even know if I have the number. One punt for 54-yard return is what he had. So that was a 54-yard return. If it wasn't for that damn kicker, and it's always that damn kicker, he could have took it to the house. But here's what went down. He got a 54-yard return, got us very close. Matter of fact, it was to the 25-yard line of the Buffalo Bills. And the only way that I know that off the top of my head that it was a 25-yard line is because on the very next play, Kenny Pickett goes 25, throws a 25-yard pass straight to Pat Freiermuth into the end zone, touchdown, 14-0 within the first 5 minutes of this football game. Mike, second drive.
It was a thing of beauty. You want to talk about nipples hard? I think Ryan and I, we watched the game together in the studio, and I think Ryan's nipples did blind me. They poked me in the eye.
I was cutting glass.
Like the minute Calvin Austin caught the ball, Ryan knew something special was going to happen, and it was. Talk about great blocking again. There was no even borderline holds or blocking the backs to give the officials a chance to, hey, we're going to bring this back. No, it was designed perfectly. I was hoping he would have done the AB Superman or, Sparta kick on the kicker, that would have cemented Calvin Austin as a legend in my mind. But no, there was a great return. And then when that play happened, I told Ryan afterwards, this was the growth of Matt Canada and Kenny Pickett.
Absolutely.
We're going to attack you. We're going for it after this big return instead of we're going to do a little screen. We're going to do a handoff. No, we're going down the field. And it was great call, great execution. It's showing the growth and confidence of both the offensive coordinator and the quarterback. Because last year, I don't know if Kenny tries to make that throw, and I don't know if Canada even thinks about calling that. So another great sign. It was just a beautiful throw and catch. And that linebacker, he was,
Milano.
I don't know where he was looking.
Yeah.
My man was lost in it. I don't know where
And
he was
again,
looking.
these are Buffalo
Kenny
Bill
didn't even look
starters.
him
These are
off.
guys that are
Yeah,
going to be A1 on day
yeah.
one.
Yeah, that guy got lost in coverage, and it was great. And he, Kenny took advantage of that, and it was perfect.
Also, let's see. And then the next drive, they didn't do anything again. We held their first team again. Then after that, they pulled Josh Allen,
Mid
some other
Allen.
starters, which I'm fine with at that point, because her first team dominated their first team. Again, do what you want with that, with your pre-season thoughts, everybody. But again, you got to put everything in consideration.
It's encouraging.
It's nice to see. It's very encouraging, guys.
Because like Ryan said, if it was the other way around, we would be boo-booing all of our guys and our coaching staff.
So I think at one point it was 27-0. As a matter of fact, I think last week at one point, I don't remember, it was 27-0, but I do know it was 27-7
I remember
at one
like
point.
24-0 we were up. Yeah.
Okay. And then 27-7. And then again, you get in the fourth quarter, a couple dumb things happen with Kendrick Green, and we'll get more into him in a second. And the Steelers let up some points at the end of the game last week. Again, same exact thing this week. It was a very similar game in that sense. Get to a point in the game, Kendrick Green, Mason Rudolph is looking over the defense. Kendrick Green snaps the ball. Mason goes to jump on it. It bounces out. Another Steeler jumps on it. It bounces out. And a guy from Buffalo jumps on it at the 1 yard line. At our 1 yard line. So very next play, they run it in. I think there was a penalty and they ran it in the next play or something like this. But again, these are fourth quarter points for guys that are going to be, probably in the XFL and USFL next season. So all in all, anything that matters looked well. It looked good. There's nothing, you always want to improve, of course. And there are things to do to improve. But at this point, there's nothing that's really flashing at you saying that this is going to be a big problem. We're going to just have to wait till draft next year and get this guy. Everything is looking good. We get our rookies. These rookies are making splash plays. And I'm talking about Joey Porter Jr., first interception of the season. Of course, he didn't play last week due to an injury, but he's back. He started. He gets his second play in the NFL where the ball's thrown to him. The first play was a nice coverage play. Yeah, this guy caught it for a minimal loss, 6-7 yards. Yeah, PZ Jr. was right there to make the tackle. And then the very next pass that came to him was an interception by Porter. You got to love what you see in here. Again, with the rookies. The one that I love, of course, is Nick Herbig. Nick Herbig is everywhere. He had a strip sack. You seen Mount Washington out there looking good. You're seeing the lineman looking good. Keanu Benton. Anybody that's a rookie. The only person that I really seen over the past two games that they had any shade thrown at him was for one play. I think it was the Spencer Anderson out of Maryland.
Yeah,
something that happened at one
point.
Like
a hold or something. Yeah,
it was a hold or something like this. Yeah. But nothing to be worried about. Jeez.
No. And God, that Porter Jr. pick that was great because he had zone coverage and he knew he had safety help, and it looks like he baited the quarterback into it where he wasn't really on his guy, just a little off of him. And you can see his long arms when he reached up to catch that pass. It's like, the Street Fighter game that, Zangief, what is his name, the Indian dude, had his arms stretched halfway across the screen. That's what it looked like. He just reached up, snagged that thing. It was beautiful. And then Herbig on that rush, my God.
I tried to tell you
multiple times. It's the way he dipped down and it looked like he skipped under the guy. Looked like he did a skip. And it was like how James Harrison would get under the guy.
He's learned so much from TJ Watt. And don't get me wrong, I've seen some of his footage from Wisconsin. I mean, he was a really damn good linebacker, but you could see some of the moves, some of the, the dips, the turns, the just ways of getting in the backfield and getting to the quarterback is very TJ-like. And, I'm thinking this, guys. On our inside linebackers, you have, let's just say who they're calling for the starters with Cole Holcomb and Landon Roberts. And then behind them, you have Mark Robinson,
And Quan Alexander.
Quan Alexander. And then let's spread out to the outside. On the outside, your starters are TJ and Highsmith, and you have Marcus Golden and Nick Herbig. So this is the depth is huge. What they went and did this offseason.
Yep.
You know, you can't think that we're not going to do better. There are people that do, and you know what? That's their right. I give them that. That's their opinion. But guys, I'm telling you, watch what this team does this year. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I just hope they keep sleeping on us, because we're going to be dangerous.
They are. They're sleeping. Let me get through some other numbers here. Gunnar Olszewski led the team with 5 catches, 41 yards. Let me mention real quick before I get into these numbers. Trubisky also had a touchdown pass to Connor Hayward, which was, it's an encouraging thing as well. Your backup quarterbacks in there throwing touchdowns. Connor Hayward, a guy that you expect to be involved in a lot of utilitarian type situations. So it was good to see this. Gunnar has 5 catches for 41 yards. He led the team. DJ, no catches.
Did they even throw to him?
I know.
Okay.
I seen him early in the game, and I seen Kenny talking to him at one point on the field, which I knew he was out there. But again,
he had that big
still no touchdown.
He had that big block that led to the Warren touchdown.
You're right.
He was out there, contributing. But like what?
Best receiver in the game, still no touchdown.
That's you saying he's the best receiver in the game, Derby.
Well, that's what fans are saying, that he's the best. He's our receiver 1.
On top of the
why you be negative, Derby?
I know, Derby. Stop being so
I'm not
negative.
trying to be, but it's annoying. He's in the NFL and he's arguably one of our better receivers and can't get a touchdown.
It's a preseason game, Derby. It's a preseason game. They had 2 drives.
Listen.
Ooh. Kenny threw like 4 passes.
Listen, he threw 4. He threw 4. A couple things real quick. Besides Joey Porter Jr.'s interception, I did bring up the turnover, so let me just give the other guys some credit here. Elijah Riley had an interception as well, and Shamlin Sullivan.
That's someone they're not talking about, Riley.
Yeah, and you know what, Shamlin Sullivan too. These 2 guys did really great. Yeah. They both got interceptions last night. Chris Boswell goes 2 for 2 for field goals, and he also goes 3 for 3 for extra points attempts. Preston Harvin. I'm thinking of Percy from back in the day, but Preston Harvin, get this, guys. He had 5 punts, 191 yards, 38.2 average. You're thinking, 38.2, that's nothing. But in football, a lot of times with field position, it's situational. So that's just how it plays out. Let me prove to you why it played out good for us, because all 5 of those punts were inside the 20-yard line. That gives you an idea. If he would have punted the hell out of the ball, it would have went into the stands and things like this. So a lot of times with these punters' numbers, that's what it is. It's situational. You're working field position. And you know what? We did not give Buffalo good field position except for one drive, which was that crazy Kendrick Green snap. Besides for that, this Buffalo Bills team, their heels were on the goal line all game long. They couldn't get nothing done. And you know what? Again, that's in a bigger picture. Yes, it's preseason, but it's a sign that this is the mentality your team has right now. This is the flow, the swag. And, and it's getting awfully close. If you're still going to go into the last week of preseason sluggish, maybe week one might just be a little tough for you.
Yeah, because, you like to see, if you're going to see any sluggishness out of this group, you want to see it out of your 3rd, 4th stringers. You never want to see it at this point in the preseason out of your starters. And that's what we haven't seen, man. Even game 1, the starters played well. Game 2, they're playing well. So, game 3, I wouldn't even play them. Yeah. Don't even take the chance of injury, but I understand if you want to get them out there, one last walk through, you want to leave on a high note. I don't want to take the chance of not leaving on a high note. I don't want to go out there and have say Warren fumbles or Najee fumbles or, Kenny throws a pick. You don't want that to have their last thing in their mouth.
Right. And these guys are so focused.
Yeah,
you gotta love the focus. But then,
do you want to break the routine of them? They're getting back into that routine. Do you want to break it? Because you know how athletes are, man. They're so superstitious, so set into a routine.
Derby, who was your player of the game last night?
I'm gonna go Austin.
Calvin Austin the third. That was your player of the game. I could easily agree with that. Mike, who are you going to say is the player of the game?
I'm going to have co-players of the game because these are 2 people that have been a lot of focus, a lot of attention on these 2, Matt Canada and Kenny Pickett.
Okay.
I know
I
Canada's
would
not
agree.
going to play, but this is what everyone wanted to see what these two would do in second year together, and they're making doubters.
You know what? Really
I can
enjoy
agree on
this
that.
show because there's very, 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 very few shows that all three people on this show agree. Derpy says Calvin Austin the third is his player of the game.
Yeah.
Mike says players of the game with Matt Cannon and Kenny Pickett. I just think you have to, just because your centerpiece, your quarterback, he is doing well, and people were, and this is what people said that he wasn't doing. I think for that reason you have to go with your leader at this point. But don't get me wrong, I'm not taking away from anybody. I could easily give this to half dozen people in this game. I just because, like I said, I'm a lot of people are getting confident in our quarterback, and I think that they should. I think he's going to do well. And as I said, there's a half dozen people. Joey Porter Jr., I mean, his first career interception, be it preseason, you get that out of the way. Now there's, you don't have this in your mind. You're halfway through the season. Man, I can't even intercept. Nothing like that. Calvin Austin the third opens the game up. Jalen Warren 63-yard run on one carry. Come on, you don't make better out of an opportunity than that. I mean, really, the list goes on here. And as I said, I wouldn't even go as far as saying that Presley Harvin couldn't have deserved it. Five punts and all five of them within the 20-yard line. We kept this Buffalo Bills team under the shadow of the goalpost all game. It was beautiful to see. Moving forward, again, we have Atlanta coming up Thursday, a short week, Steeler fans. So keep the excitement going. Do a little dab like they was doing after the touchdown by Pat Fryermuth. Guys, we're down to about 4 minutes, so I'm gonna change direction real quick. I just want to get this Pirate information out. Yes, there's a baseball team in this town. They happened to play last night, and they happened to win. This Pirate team is now sitting at 55-68. They have game 3 of 3 against the Twins today. The Twins coming in at 64-60 over in Minnesota. Mitch Keller throws 6 innings yesterday. He struck out 12. Gave up 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk. He had a pretty good game. Andrew McCutcheon had a home run. Key Brian Hayes went 2 for 5. DeLay went 2 for 5. And Jack Sawinski, he had 3 walks. So
there we go. We'll take that
away.
Jack. Yeah.
And also G1 Bay, who just came back up the other day, he goes 1 for 3, 2 runs, 2 walks, 1 RBI. So good to see him back up. He got good speed. As they were saying the other night when I was watching, get him on base because his speed is the difference. Hit G1 Bay on base, and that's what they did. Again, game 3 of 3 today at 2:10. Tomorrow they come back home to start a 7-game homestand. Tomorrow it'll be against the Cardinals, 7:05, game 1. Back to the series that we wrap up today. It's going to be probables is going to be Ryan Barducci. He is a left-hander. He has a 1-0 record, 4.07 ERA, and 23 Ks on the season, going against Dallas Keuchel, who's a left-handed pitcher as well from Minnesota with an 0-1, 9.45 ERA, and 0 Ks on the season. I like our chances against these guys.
Why'd you say that?
It was way to curse us.
Yeah, right. But again, guys, game 3, preseason game 3 at Atlanta on Thursday, 7:30 p.m. If you can't watch it, set your DVR. It's getting a lot of fun, guys. We're 21 days, 3 weeks from right now. We are just going to be 39 minutes away from kickoff to start the season. So,
at home,
Mike, why don't you go tell everybody about the website?
TwoDumbYinzers.com. Head on over there for everything you need. Two Dumb Yinzers with multiple links over there for all of our everywhere you can find us. We have the merch store on there. Get your Two Dumb Yinzer merch, your Two Dumb Yinzer and Bob Nothing merch to show your displeasure. All at TwoDumbYinzers.com.
All right, guys, I'm not hesitating. I'm not wasting any time because there is only 4 days between now and the next game. So we're going Atlanta Falcons trivia. Here we go, fellas. Who was the first Atlanta Falcon to amass more than 500 career receptions? Think it over.
Ooh.
If you would like some choices, I'll give them to you in just
that
a
has
moment.
to be easy, right,
Think
Mike?
it over. We are live 7 days a week, everybody, from Monday to Sunday, every week, right here. And if you're more of a podcast person, that's totally fine because the show that we do new every day gets uploaded at 8:00 p.m. over on Spotify and podcast form, so you can enjoy it rather. We're here any way you want All too dumb Yinzers. So, guys, so the trivia question of the day is this: preparing for the Falcons, who was the first Atlanta Falcon to amass more than 500 career receptions? You guys need a hint, or you guys want to take a stab? What do you
I'll
think?
take a stab at it because Derpy's rather confident. I think we have two different players in mind. I think I know
okay.
who Derpy's thinking, and I think that's a good answer. But I think I'm going to go slightly off. You go
Okay.
first, Derpy. You got a guess?
All right, here we go. Derpy, who was the first Falcon to amass more than 500 career receptions?
Well, the only one I know is Julio, so I'm gonna go Julio.
Julio Jones. Not a
Good
bad pick. Not a
Good
bad pick.
Not a bad pick. I'm going with Andre.
Andre Rison.
Rison.
Now, after you gave your answers, let me lock you in. I'm gonna
It's gonna be some guy we never heard of, Derpy.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So with this being said, you guys are locked in. We cannot change our answers. I was going to give you the names, and if that wasn't enough, I was going to also give you one hint. The hint was this receiver had 573 of them total between the years of 1994 and 2001.
There it is.
So Derpy says Julio Jones, which is never a bad pick. Mike says Andre Rison. And of course, the answer, everybody, was Terrence Mathis.
I told you, Derpy.
Terrence Mathis was the first Falcon to amass 500 yards between 94-01. He has 573. He was a beast. Between Terrence Mathis and Andre Rison, these guys were a really good team in the late 90s, especially 98 when they made it to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, they come up short to the Broncos. He's got, I mean, you know, who else would
so
you
confident?
I mean, those are the two biggest names. Those are the two biggest names that you could think of in Falcons history as far as receiving
Eric
goes.
Mathis. Now that you mention him, I'm like, I remember him. Yeah,
He was a beast.
He was a beast.
Anything before we start getting ready to take off, Mike? What's your wisdom of the day that you like to share with people?
My wisdom of the day is never play pool against someone named after a city.
Never play pool against someone that's named after a city.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I'm never any good at pool, and I won't play anybody that isn't just me and that person in somebody's basement. Anything outside of that, I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
Is there any explanation to this?
It's a quote from Teen Wolf.
Okay.
The basketball coach had 3 simple rules he lived by, and that was one of them.
Derpy, what's your word of wisdom to share with the listeners?
I said this yesterday.
There's 32 teams. There's
No.
There's 16 games. It's a long season, but it's not a very long season. It's a moderately long season.
I'm trying to figure out your quotes for the football season. No, I got your baseball ones down.
It lasts the same amount of period as the baseball season does, but not quite as many games. Okay, I'm sorry, Derpy. Go ahead.
Sorry, Derpy.
Until the narrative of 6200 changes, don't believe anything the media says.
Until the narrative of 6200 changes, don't believe anything the media says. Of course, Derpy is talking about the Ohio blunders in the NFL with
the Super Bowl wins.
In Super Bowls. Yes, the Browns and Bengals have 0. The Steelers have 6. The Ravens have 2. And I think that's where Derpy was going with that.
Derpy.
For myself, I just want to say, I can't tell so much on my screen in front of me, but as I'm looking on the out screen, I, of course, played the part of the devil today. And you may be able to tell this on the screen here on YouTube. I'm a little red. I spent about 10 hours out in the sun yesterday, and here I am. So if anybody picks that out and notices that is exactly what happened.
Yeah, well, the light is not glaring back into us, blinding us.
Yeah, you were fine. You were fine.
I see like on my screen, like the coloring is different. I can't tell that I'm beat red on the screen, but as I'm looking at,
you got some color today. You look good today. As
I'm looking at the product coming through YouTube, I noticed that you can see. But anyway, that's kind of a vain thing to say. On top of this, maybe let me just say yes, go Steelers. I'm very, very, I'm very excited. I'm building, confidence. I think that this is going to be a fun year, and
it's a long season.
It's going to be,
I can play 17 games.
I think another thing I do want to say, guys, this is my other thing. This Baltimore Raven team, they just signed Clowney the other day. they have a
They
handful.
want to make a difference.
And I mentioned this to Mike. They have a handful of landmines. And do I think that Odell's going to do something stupid? No, because you know what? Mike made a good point. He's never really, especially recently, he's matured, I think, as a player.
Mm-hmm.
But this Baltimore team has a bunch of people that are one play away from turning into a disaster. I think their quarterback, until that quarterback and that team can prove that he could go 17 games and play both of them against the Steelers in a season, I'm just not on that Lamar boat anymore. Yes, he was an MVP at one point. I don't see that player in the past few years. Again, you know, you got OBJ, you got Clowney, you got these young guys. I just think that this team is one or two incidences away from knocking themselves down, maybe, you know, mentally, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not buying into the Baltimore Ravens. Cincinnati's going to be good. The Browns are going to be the Browns. Guys, it's looking good for us. This season's going to be a lot of fun.
Another thing.
Yeah, go ahead, Derby.
This happened before the show. Our starting linebacker, Miles Jack, retired.
I seen that. Miles Jack, and then also, what's the other guy? Washington. He signed with the Colts. So, what was his name? James.
James
Washington.
Washington from.
Well, hey, you know, Miles Jack, he can go back to being a plumber and electrician.
I heard he already had his paperwork turned in at the local trade school when they were bothering him. So,
you know, he was probably like, that just shows, you know, he was like already moved on.
right.
They brought him back and he's like, yeah. And then,
like, you know what? I wish him the best.
Me too.
I thought he was damn good in Jacksonville. I didn't think he was as good in Pittsburgh, but he was solid.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is his life decision. And let him go and do your thing, my man. Have a great career.
There's more to life than football, man.
Absolutely. So, hey, guys, we'll be back tomorrow to start a new week first thing, as always. But until then, go over to the NFL Network because they keep replaying games, and that Steeler game will be sure to pop up.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? I've already watched it many times, and it gets a little bit better every time. But for us here, us at the Two Dumb Yinzers show, Derpy, Mike, myself, everybody.